So here at the SociallyU studio, after every shoot, we sit around in the control room and we talk about what went good, what went bad, and what we could do better in the future. And we realized that we should probably record these things so we can actually remember what we said. And then we realized that this could possibly be good content for the people who view our channel. So come along with us as we learn, grow, and fail, and maybe you can learn something as we learn too. Welcome to the Debrief.
Welcome back to the fourth and final debriefing of the week. Today we're going to talk about Billy Hutchinson, a part of the Colson Center. His setting today was a library. It was a plate. And that's all I got to say about that. I'm going to take it away to Andre.
All right. We have been doing a bunch of filming this week, starting with Unreal Virtual Production, moving into plates yesterday and today. Minor amount of effort to go from set number 1 to set number 2 today. So here, if you hop over this, we can show you, here's the green screen. So this is kind of like the raw, what it looked like here. And I was recording a little bit of my Ultimate monitor today so I could show just a couple of things. So you can see straight out of camera, no veil applied for you Ultimate people. We're getting a really clean, no clean plate either. We didn't end up doing that on this one. We just were able to get it tight enough. And there's the background that we were using, which we filmed on location using the same camera, the same focal length, f-stop, etc. So here's kind of that final composited image that we did. One of the things you'll certainly see is I'm definitely taking that background that's a little more raw, the color depth, not as dark of a black level. You can certainly see how I'm applying that through here. And so that's what I was adjusting. In fact, that took the most amount of time, was adjusting black and white levels, kind of fast forwarding here, to show, to try to get it just right. I think I ended in a good place, but that definitely took a little bit of time to get that coloring and everything to look like he's really in the room. Jay and Tyler did a really nice job of giving me a nice hit on the table here. And then later we ended up flagging this reflection off of his head here. This is the side shot. I was never fully happy with the side shot. I think the reason is, when we shot this, the background outside is just really bright, and we ended up darkening the background so we can see the tree and all of that in a little more detail. I think we were also doing that to kind of compensate for the Ultimate for us with our cameras. Doesn't do as well with super bright backgrounds. And so kind of those two things together pushed us into this. And so, yeah, you can see that's kind of in progress there. It looked like I had a little bit of print through on his arm right over here. I think I fixed that later, but there's the background. Those are kind of the different aspects of that going through. There's our combined matte. Whoops, let me get rid of that person. But you can see it's a pretty good clean matte. We do a little bit in a minute to clean up some of these print throughs. We want this to be totally black to get the best key possible. And I'll fast forward a little bit more. Let me just kind of drag it. And I think somewhere through here. Yeah, so there's some false color. So you can see there I'm adjusting the false color. I'm adjusting the camera settings to get the false color where I need it to be. So that's where we ended up. It's not perfectly green. There's certainly some vignetting on this lens at this lower f-stop. I wanted the lower f-stop though so that this would be just a little softer over here on this side. So that's what we ended up with on those shots. There you can see just I'm going through kind of showing the different pieces. I'm always impressed with how cool it looks just on black. It's like we've got to do something just with black. It looks so good. Yeah. So those are the two shots. There's the wonderful Chris coming in to fix any lint, anything on him before we get started. So I think that's it. I think I just kind of wanted to show some of the behind the scenes of what I'm doing to do that. Yeah, so there you go. So that's kind of the behind the scenes false color. I thought I had a false color for this one. Would have been cool. Oh, nope. But maybe I'll come back to that and show it to you. But that's where we ended up with all of that. It worked out really great, and felt like the end result looked pretty awesome. In fact, Jay, maybe you can take over airplaying, you could show kind of what the actual final image looked like. But
Yeah, and maybe you'll show that in the result.
here it is. Hold on,
Yeah,
before you do.
there you go.
There you go. So there's my false color on that. So you can see.
I was just about to say how even.
I know.
Green
I'm like, so proud of that. I wanted to show where we ended up. So again, for us, we're trying to expose that face in the pink and the light gray, green and dark gray on the shadow side, and you can see just the green itself. Man, we got a nice, super even, maybe just right here and right here on parts of the image that really are unnoticeable, maybe a little bit. But overall, one of the cleanest lit backgrounds we've had on a wide shot. It seems like on the tighter shots we can get a little cleaner, but on this wide shot, one of the ones that I felt really good about. So yeah, that's it for Chroma Keyland over here.
Yeah, I was obviously you were too, but I was really happy with how evenly lit we got that background and how well it was done. If you don't know, we work in the south side of Chattanooga, so you can probably hear that siren.
Just not in the studio.
Not in the studio. Sometimes that's a problem, as Eric sitting over there would know. Today with Billy this morning and yesterday when he was here watching Stefan, I'm so awkwardly framed. It's hard for me to sit over here on this third. Billy kept saying, man, Stefan, you are spoiling them. It's not going to be this good tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. Well, Billy got in here. We coached him for about, 10 minutes, and he was an expert at the end of the day. It felt like he was flying through his content, doing really well. He also had an expert teleprompter operator today who was really killing the game in Emma. Like who? But for me, today was just as easy as yesterday with Stefan. Like, I really had no complaints about anything. Our file management, note taking, and editing process was flying. Like, I really had nothing. And even you and Morgan were working on something, so I was also firing the lower thirds on ProPresenter in the second half of the day. And it was running really smooth. I was really happy with how the day went.
They were all very prepared. That was the key to it. And he had spent a lot of time thinking about how to write for teleprompter, and we had a good conversation about him figuring out, I have to write very differently for spoken word than for publication. He used the example of C.S. Lewis when his book Mere Christianity was all radio talks, so it was written to be spoken anyway. So it was easy to read it also, but he did a lot of work on that, so that was good. That on that side angle shot, what's so cool about that shot is that it's so dynamic because of that tree in the background.
Yeah, right.
That kind of, to me, just added an extra level of magic to it with that tree, the leaves fluttering in the background. And I think, once we got the angles of the camera in terms of the height from the floor, I mean, to me, it looks like he's in that room, like we just set up a table in that room.
Yeah, and we were kind of briefly showing this, but before we go to that side shot, just since I already have this queued up, here's basically the setup. It essentially was a 2-camera shoot.
Yeah.
The wide that we then would do a punch in on the tight, where he's reading from prompter, and then the side, which you see over here on this camera here. And then we also threw in our brand new L bracket, messing around. You can see me actually doing some false color and messing around with that while we're doing that shot. But I was like, okay, let's play a little more with some vertical video. Also, a friendly reminder, I can't stand vertical video, but the end result is really nice for those vertical people.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
So it does look really clean. It's a really neat look. And certainly, again, he's not addressing this camera. This was us just kind of playing. This wasn't part of the project. It was me just kind of playing with vertical, seeing how that felt. But yeah, it's a nice result that we can get from that as well.
Just in terms of logistics, I was doing the switching, and so they had all their scripts written out. He had his scripts written out, and he was just reading the script straight, word for word. Now, he would improvise a little bit, and one thing we always encourage people to do is when they flub a word or they miss or they say something a little bit different, to just keep going. And most of the time he did, and toward the end there, he was just powering right on through. When he would say something differently, and toward the end, he was actually kind of trying to ad lib a little bit more to make it a little more fresh. And what was great about it is the way I have the arrangement on the multi-view is I can see the teleprompter. So I'm reading along with the teleprompter, and I can kind of read ahead a little bit to see, okay, I'm going to go to a side angle on this particular thing that he's talking about. So because he was so keeping to the script so well and delivering that content so well, I could just ride right along with him and just be ready to cut to the side angle. It's like a lot of times when somebody's going to quote somebody else, I'll go to the side angle, it kind of separates them, kind of come out of the reality of it and then go back into it. But it was nice to be able to just read along with it, and then and because he was doing so well with the script.
One thing, Tyler, I forgot to compliment you on was, so we've been figuring that out. Like, you've been cutting a little bit more recently. And what's nice is today I kept dragging in a secondary clip on top of the main clip. So just in case I needed to edit a part where we had a pickup. But every single time you seem to understand where he was before we cut and where you should pick up on what angle. So I technically, all I was doing was cutting out the dead space, and it was already edited. I wasn't having to use the second clip.
That's cool.
Literally every single time except for like once, and it was just the side shot, and it was
good.
It was because some kid with his ricer outside decided to rev his engine and totally screw our recording up. But yeah, that worked really well. You understanding the angle that you were at and that you should switch an angle helps me in the editing process make it even faster, which helps our overall workflow a ton.
And you were editing, I think you got the last one done as he was wrapping up, I guess.
Yeah, I was finishing the last one as he was doing his testimonial. So, and we got it finished, and everything's done, and it's compressing currently.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Speak, so. Yup. That's the main part of what we do. You know, when a lot of people who watch this YouTube video, you're probably interested in how we operate as a studio. So that means all the details, especially Ultimate with the Chroma Keyland that we're doing, and then also Unreal Engine and things like that. But for the clients, the most important thing is not all of that, right? To the clients, that's something that you're supposed to have set up and ready to go. Really, the selling point for us is making videos as fast as you can talk and being able to deliver that content immediately once we finish it. And the past this entire week, all 4 days that we recorded this week, that system has been absolutely flying at warp speed. And so that's really good, because whenever we did the rebuild, we had some slowness there in getting all of the ultimates in. We were doing some post work that was very time consuming. It felt stressful, but as film days go by and we get better as we're going, it seems like not completely. There's still some pain points and still some things because computers are computers, but we're really flying now, and it seems like everything's coming together and working really well. So I'm really happy.
Just wanted to touch this shoot and the one before it with Stefan was plates. So Unreal was not involved in this. I typically speak on Unreal, but for this one, we're using OBS Studio to output the plate, and it's just a video file on loop, which took a little bit of time to set up through just editing, because when we shot these plates, they were all in Blackmagic RAW. So we had to use a DaVinci workflow. We're typically a Final Cut studio.
Yep.
So that's kind of the process of playing back plates for us is we're basically going out on location, shooting it, doing some double exposure tricks to get the windows, which we obviously overdid in this case.
Oh yeah. That could be explained.
But
yeah.
So like we cut out the windows on this, and that's what Andre's talking about, is we kind of overdid it a little bit.
Yeah. So
just to be able to see that tree.
Right. Well, and I think we were doing that. Jay and I are battling mouses there. But I think we also did that for hair and stuff. It was so bright before.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But it does. And then we have a different problem, which is the light in real life changes a lot, right? So even just so we'll record a plate for 30 minutes or so. We'll get some nice, tree movement and whatever. But these lights on the table are going to continue to adjust, which is fine, except when you're trying to record all day, that's not going to work right. So what we've essentially done is frozen different parts of the image,
right,
and then allowed other parts of the image to like the side shot.
We recorded the inside for like 15 seconds or so, and then we left the room and recorded the window shot moving. The entire shot was exposed for the window.
For the windows, right?
for however many minutes. we
Right,
did
right,
that.
right.
So we had that
Yeah.
loop.
So even though it's a plate, there's still some movie magic going on.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of
It's all
effects
complex.
done to the plate to kind of dial it in, and we had to remove like any markers that would be
That looks cool.
Apple
specific.
TV's doing
you know.
great.
Apple TV just made him into a South Park character, a Canadian South Park character.
It's hilarious. Apple TV for the win.
But that's the advantage of Unreal, right? Is Unreal allows us to have infinite
Yeah.
golden hour or anything. We're not thinking about moving of light when it comes to that
Right.
with Unreal.
Yeah, and I think there's advantages to both. Like obviously Unreal, focus on me. Unreal is like you can do like virtually, pun intended, anything. But
We can't move the cameras when we're doing
right, that's what I was gonna do. So there's limitations in Unreal to how real things look. I mean, the name is literally Unreal,
Mhm.
but there's a point where you get an Unreal where you break the video gaminess of it, and that's awesome. Sometimes it's sort of hard to break that depending on the quality of the build that somebody's created that we're buying and applying to a virtual set. Now, when you go shoot something, as you shoot a plate, you get that realness, that real authentic feel to it. But the downsides are the lighting. And then today I kept saying to Morgan, "Hey, I want to swing that camera around and look. Oh wait, tracking isn't turned on because this isn't an Unreal set." So there are downsides to both, but we were only doing plates exclusively at first, but once we unlocked Unreal and we were getting going with that, it's been awesome. So now to be able to mesh them together, it feels awesome.
Yeah, and we know people have a lot of questions about Unreal, so we're still learning. We've been kind of like, when do we start making some videos showing what we're up to? So stay tuned. Those are coming, and so you'll get to see what we're figuring out along the way. Now, one thing that's different on this one is we did have a weird small hum that was happening. Now Eric is laser ears, and he's really over here dialing in.
Eagle ear.
So talk to us, Eric, about what you discovered and found.
Okay, so I'm working in AirPod Maxes for the noise suppression, particularly here in the control room when you've got a client in the room, things going on.
Because normally, talk about your normal environment and what's happening here. So.
Well, I have a super treated room in Nashville and some PMC 226s, awesome monitors. I can at least get a starting point on, and then I'm still primarily working in these headphones, even at home, just for it helps me isolate and dial in further and not confuse ambient noise happening outside my house, even though I'm fairly isolated. Having that extra layer is helpful. So I'm normally 100% remote and not dealing with immediate bleed from my surroundings here in the control room. That said, I guess just to give you an idea of the fact that it's a little different that I'm here. Anyhow, I noticed it's very subtle, but a rumble, and like these headphones in particular are hyped in the bottom end. They sound absolutely great. Very balanced. I can work comfortably in them from a mix perspective. And we are filtering out low end around 75 hertz on the actual microphone inputs. So it's certainly not as prevalent. But I noticed on a break when I just click the high pass filter off to hear what's going on and turn off our noise suppression on the microphone chain, that I'm hearing this like subsonic vibration. And talking to Morgan about it during lunch, we ascertained, I was pretty sure it was something infrastructure related. And I became aware of these camera tracking devices that actually create a vibration. And so during the break, had Morgan, while I was sitting here in headphones, just honed in on the one open microphone channel that we were using, had him go one by one and turn the trackers off. And sure enough, particularly the tracker closest to the microphone mount, that stopped the issue. So
and we had thought it was a boom pole or a mic.
we
You guys went
isolated.
through a lot of options.
We isolated for. I mean, it seems silly to me in hindsight because I don't even know how a mic would necessarily create. But you want to isolate for everything, so we checked a couple different cables. We traded the boom pole out. We traded the mic out. Just everything in the chain, and then I was thankful to learn in conversation that there was something that that we could control that was generating the rumble, because my worry was that it was beyond our
car wash or
control.
something,
Yeah,
right?
something happening.
You did think it was a low hum from the car wash. That's
Yeah,
right. I forgot
yeah,
about
well,
that.
There's a big car wash next door to us with massively loud jet engine vacuum cleaners.
And I will say, you said the tracking devices. So the way that the Vive works is through Bluetooth. We have these things called base stations. Some people call them lighthouses, but we're going to call them base stations. And we have them connected into our speed rail grid into the ceiling. They're connected to C-stand arms. So in those little trackers, there's a constant rotating gyro. That's how it works. And that little vibration, I mean, if you held it in your hand, you would be like, there's no way that this itty bitty vibration goes up a C-stand arm into a grid and spreads throughout. But that's exactly what was creating that noise. Because in the past, Morgan and I have moved them, and you're not supposed to move them until they've turned off. And I thought one was still spinning after I unplugged it. But lo and behold, it was really the vibration from the other one that was completely across the room. And so that makes total sense as to how it can get in there. And I'm glad you guys
amazing.
figured that out.
So now we got to find it. We got to find a solution though.
Way to mount those.
Yeah.
How to mount those.
Noise
or mount the
vibration
mic.
isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good challenge.
Some
It
sort of
sure is, and I love that you love that challenge, because I said earlier I know exactly the guy that needs to take on that challenge. I'm like, Tyler's going to figure this out. But yeah, we do need to figure out that gyroscope that's inside these Vive base stations is definitely causing a vibration that's extending throughout the entire speed rail system.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's exciting. We'll
Isn't
figure
that
it
exciting? That's so fascinatingly
out. Thinking
exciting.
about it already.
I'm glad we can control it though.
Oh, I think we should call Eric Eagle Ears.
Nice.
Old Eagle Ears.
Eagle ears. Hey, we're tired. We have worked all week long. We've made videos every day. I was just adding up the total: 121 totally finished, edited, done videos from Tuesday to today's Friday. So it's been a long week. The system is working. Everyone pulled it off. We did it. So way to go, everybody.
Yay.
We did it. I mean, that's pretty amazing. That's a pretty great. These are in depth, a lot of content videos. So Tuesday through Friday, what a deal! And we went from a live audience looking set on a stage to a classroom to a library, and all the setups took. It seemed like about an hour to switch out.
Yeah.
Now the Ishik one that took more time to kind of set up because there's more things we were thinking through. But even that, we did a different setup on the next day.
Also, that was asked for morning of.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Oh, by the way, we need a whole different look for several other clients.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And
hey,
we
we're happy
edited-
to accommodate. So
And we edited in Turkish on that day too.
yeah, we
so-
did not take notes on those because I wouldn't have known what to say. Luckily, she's one take wonder on those, and her English ones too. So that's really good. But yeah, you're right. 121 videos total. They're all already done.
Yeah.
And
So
we
that
did it.
feels
We-
great.
Yeah.
So way to go. The system is working. The assembly line that we're creating is doing something awesome. So, if we can ever help you with any video projects, please contact us. SociallyU.com, and our email is just studio@sociallyU.com. We'd love to see if there's a way we could partner together and do a live event or record some content like this. It'd be awesome. Be honored to be a part of that project with you.
And also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We would really appreciate it if you guys did that. Like I've said in previous videos, we will definitely respond to your comments, and we're really interested in any questions that anybody has. If you want to ask us a question, we promise it's not a burden, and you're probably going to help us figure something out. So we really look forward to seeing those.
Yeah.
Okay, until the next one.
Bye.